The Right Side with Doug Billings.
Hi, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the set of my show, The Right Side. I want to take a few minutes with you today to give a strategic analysis. This is a special program about the Venezuela situation. Maduro, what now for Venezuela? What now for the world? And what now for other leaders who are illegitimate and just every bit as a despot as Maduro was? So welcome to The Right Side. And before we get started, ladies and gentlemen, here is your assignment. Head over to YouTube. I've just been reinstated as of a couple of months ago. 4 years ago, YouTube canceled me because of the conservative, truthful message that I bring to you. Well, I'm back. I hold no grudges. Some people say, why are you giving your business over there to YouTube? Why are you on that platform? Well, sometimes you can use the devil to do God's work, can't you? But subscribe to my YouTube channel, at The Right Side, Doug Billings. At The Right Side, Doug Billings. Head over there if you want to follow on X and on Truth Social, at Doug Billings. All right. But YouTube, at The Right Side, Doug Billings. Okay. So today, because the capture of Nicolás Maduro was not the end of something, it's actually the beginning of a lot of somethings, and a lot of somethings that are far bigger than what the arrest of Maduro was, believe it or not. So the question on, I think, a lot of people's minds is, what now? Who runs Venezuela beyond Trump saying that we're going to run it? What does that really mean? What does the United States accept as far as a solution in Venezuela? And what does this mean to every tyrant watching from Havana to Tehran? And believe me, they're watching. Oh, yes. Over the weekend, you can better believe that world leaders, despots, tyrants, terrorists, we're on conference calls, Skype calls. Oh, wow, look what Trump just did. America. Ladies and gentlemen, before I really get into this, let me make it clear. America has reestablished herself as this planet's only superpower. We are the world's only superpower. No other nation or military on earth could come close to what our military did in capturing Maduro with that operation. So again, cheers to General Kane of the Air Force, who's the Joint Chiefs Chairman, President Trump, obviously, the entire team, but our military men and women who were responsible for helping and leading that mission. What a beautiful thing. What a beautiful thing. So let's walk this through, shall we, together? This won't take very long. First, I want to be clear that Venezuela didn't just reset overnight. One of the biggest lies that you're being told right now is that Venezuela is somehow now magically free, and that Maduro was, the moment that Maduro was taken into custody, everything in Venezuela is now fine. Wrong. That's not how power works. Now, for those of you who listen to my show on a regular basis, congratulations. You're members of the most intellectually mature audience in all of Radioland. But for those of you who don't, stay with me because I'm here to help. That's not how power works. Governments don't just disappear when one man is removed. They fracture and they reposition. Or they attempt to rebrand, I grant you that. The Venezuelan state apparatus, the courts, the party leadership, the security forces, it's all still there. And that brings us to the first critical name that we all need to know. So who is the interim right now? Who is the person running the show down there? Now, I'm not suggesting that this person's going to be in control very long, but right now, Delcy Rodriguez. So inside Venezuela's own system, the regime's courts, the Supreme, I guess their version of the Supreme Court, has named Delcy Rodriguez as the acting president due to what they called Maduro's forced absence. Okay. So let me be clear about that. Delcy Rodriguez is not a reformer. She's not an opposition figure. She's Maduro's longtime lieutenant, a member of his inner circle. She's overseen oil policy. She's enforced sanctions. She's written the narrative of their Communist Socialist Party down there, and she's helped keep the regime functioning under pressure. So what does all of this mean? So it's not a revolution. This is the regime attempting to survive without its face, Maduro. Now, will the United States accept Delcy Rodriguez? Begs the question, right? This is where things can get interesting. And the short answer is she's not a legitimate leader, nor, just like Maduro. But possibly, and I'm just saying possibly, as a temporary functional node of that system down there, the Trump administration understands something very critical. And again, I'm just here to help. You don't dominate and you don't dismantle criminal states by flipping a switch. It's not that easy. You dismantle them by controlling all of the levers within the system, which brings us to the man quietly kind of shaping this entire transition, and that is, and of course, our friend Marco Rubio. Right now, Secretary of State Marco Rubio is serving as the administration's architect of leverage. Not rhetoric, not giving speeches. He's using leverage. Rubio's role is to oversee the process. It's not to run Venezuela. His role is to decide, among other things, who gets access to the oil markets down there, who gets access to international finance according to their economy, who gets legitimacy in Venezuela, and who does not. In plain English, if you want to govern Venezuela, you've got to pass through American conditions. And that's just the way it is. Those conditions are clear. Real elections, real opposition participation, and real transaction timelines, along with transition timelines that can be verified. Ladies and gentlemen, that is not occupation of a country. This is control of outcomes without boots on the ground. Now, the other power centers down there that you've got to keep an eye on and an ear out for. Venezuela, obviously, not run by one person. It's run by 3 power blocks. And names matter. So first, the enforcers down there. Diosdado Cabello. Remember him. Diosdado Cabello. So this is the Venezuelan regime's internal muscle. He's the hitman. He's a party loyalist. He's a security hardliner. And if the regime cracks, it cracks when men like Cabello lose control of the rank and file. Okay, that's number one. Second, the legislature. In that body, Jorge Rodriguez. Now, that's Delcy's brother, Delcy, who I mentioned earlier. He controls the National Assembly. And that's how, in Venezuela, laws are legalized. Okay? Watch him closely. Jorge Rodriguez. How do you like my Spanish lingo there? Jorge Rodriguez. And then number third is oil. Number third, oil. Now, election integrity is also in the mix here. I'll get to that in a minute. But third, for now, oil. No oil exports for Venezuela means no money, no revenue. And no money and no revenue means no loyalty. Because if nothing's in it for me, I'm not going to be loyal to Maduro. And no loyalty also means you either negotiate or you collapse. That's why the Trump administration put so much pressure on shipping and energy flows, because that matters more than any speech given by any politician ever could, my friends. So who will the United States support now as a future leader of Venezuela? First, before we answer that, we have to deal with a very critical misconception. The United States is not installing a president by decree. You've got to be clear, and don't let the radical left media seduce you into thinking otherwise. What the United States does is far more powerful than that. It recognizes legitimacy, and it starves everything else. In the opposition world, 2 names matter the most down there in Venezuela. Maria Corina Machado. She is the moral center, at least right now, of the opposition, banned by the regime, but she's internationally recognized. And then there's Edmundo Gonzalez Urrutia. Edmundo Gonzalez Urrutia. Okay, he's the unity figure that the opposition rallied behind when Maduro was blocked. Now, the U.S. doesn't need to install either of those people. It simply needs to make it clear, America does, they are the only path to sanctions relief and to eventual legitimacy. It remains to be seen if either of them or someone else will become the actual president. But this is how modern power works. The three paths for Venezuela can be broken down, I think, pretty simply. Path number one, regime rebranding. Okay? Delcy Rodriguez stays, and the same people run things. They ask for sanctions relief. They offer cosmetic reforms. This is, for lack of a better word, it's Maduroism without Maduro, okay? And the U.S. is going to say no to that. Path number two is a negotiated transition. A temporary authority, opposition is included in this, meaning anti-Maduro people. There's election timelines and international oversight. Now, this is the path that Washington is clearly, at least right now, pressuring towards. And then path number three is an internal fraction, and a fracture within the internal system begins to develop. Now, that hasn't happened yet, but if path three, this internal fracture begins, the earmarks of that are the security forces will split, hardliners will resist any kind of change, chaos begins to emerge, and this is the danger zone. And that's why that leverage that Marco Rubio is using now has got to be applied carefully. Now, Cuba and other nations in our neighborhood, in Venezuela's neighborhood, and Cuba, what does it mean for them? Because every authoritarian ruler just learned something. Sovereignty is no longer going to be a shield for state-sponsored crime. It's really that simple. If you traffic drugs, if you traffic children, if you protect drug cartels, and if you poison American communities, you can be reached. And that changes the calculus in Cuba. It changes the calculus in narco states. Changes the calculus for every ruler who believed that America had lost her will. And the bigger truth is, this isn't about conquest. It isn't about empire building. It's not about expanding the American empire. This is about something a lot simpler. Consequences. This is about consequences. And this administration has shown the world that criminal regimes will be treated like criminal enterprises. Even if they call themselves governments, they're going to be treated as such. That's the new reality. And it is long overdue. Wouldn't you agree? So remember this moment, ladies and gentlemen, not as a headline and not as a controversy, but as a turning point. The day America reminded the world there is no safe haven for those people who would destroy lives. And the United States is done pretending otherwise. We're in this together, ladies and gentlemen. Don't forget your homework assignment. Head over to YouTube and subscribe to my channel at The Right Side. Follow me on X at Doug Billings and Truth Social at Doug Billings. You can find me on Facebook and Instagram as well. Go ahead. You can do it. We're in this together, ladies and gentlemen. Believe it. Oh, and if you want a personal message, book me on Cameo. Be happy to do it for you. Believe it, ladies and gentlemen, for the Republic. Cheers.
The Right Side with Doug Billings.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the set of my show, Doug Billings. Hey, my good friends at EMP Shield, that's electromagnetic pulse, in case you're from Raytown, Missouri. Electromagnetic pulse could wipe out your home electrical system, could wipe out your vehicle. And thanks to the radical liberal agenda that was put forth under Administrator Biden and Vice Pretender Harris, there are lots of people in this country who want to do us harm. And maybe an EMP device would be their chosen weapon. But EMP Shield gives you a device that can protect you. This little baby here goes on your home outlets, a computer, a router, whatever you want to protect. And then they also have a larger model like this. You can still hold it in the palm of your hand that goes on your vehicle battery so that you can get out of trouble from point A to point B. EMPshield.com. Promo code Doug, ladies and gentlemen. Save yourself, save your property. EMPshield.com. Promo code Doug. We're in this together, folks. Believe it. For the Republic. Cheers.
The Right Side with Doug Billings.